Short answer to are home prices going to decline in 22? No. Here's why. ...2022, we've set record in home prices here in San Diego, Southern California, as well as nationwide. People are starting to say, you know, it's feeling peaky. We're due for a correction. We're due for prices to really come down, and I'm gonna wait. Well, waiting could be one of the biggest mistakes because you could get priced out of not just the neighborhood, but the market entirely, right? So let's say, for example, last year, San Diego, depending upon the neighborhood, did between 15 and 20% appreciation. This year, we'll probably do 7 to 10, depending upon the neighborhood. And there are certain neighborhoods that'll spike that, but on average, the county's gonna do 7 to 10%. What happens when that house that you're going to buy for $1 million goes up 10%? Now it's not $1 million, it's 1.1. So that property just became 10% more expensive, and it has a ripple effect, right? Your monthly payment will go up 10%. So let's say you can afford, your hard stop is like $5 grand, okay? And then it becomes $5,500. But that $500 is really a hard stop for you because that's gonna impact lifestyle, bills, utilities, all these other things. Now you're not able to buy in the neighborhood. There are some people that can't even buy in San Diego anymore. So for those of you that are thinking of wait, now is not the time. I'll give you some more ammo, right? I'll give you some more reasons why. One, interest rates are still extremely low. Even though that they have spiked in the beginning of the year, you know, we've got inflation numbers that we haven't seen since the early 80s, and the Fed saying that they are gonna, you know, stop buying mortgage bonds in the spring. Well, they did that the first week of January, and rates shot up 0.5 to 1%. Here's the thing, they're gonna keep going up. But if you look at historical charts, a rate in the 3s or 4s is phenomenal. I've been in this business for 18 years, and I remember when rates went from 8 to 7 and people thought it was like free money. Ask your parents, for those of you that are watching this and are on the younger side, they could tell you about double digits mortgages and mortgages in the teens in the 80s. You know, absolutely crazy. So we gotta keep perspective, right? So also, let's look at lending, for example, okay? Lenders have been putting people through the ringer for the last 6, 7 years to qualify. You guys may remember the market crash in 2007, 8, 9, and a ton of regulations came out for lenders to be really tight on their underwriting guidelines. A lot of it was good, some of it was bad. Like a lot of things in life, the pendulum swings too far. But the point of the story is, we have been underwriting people so diligently into such strict guidelines and rules for the last almost 10 years that people aren't defaulting. The people that are getting these mortgages actually can qualify. You know, there is no more zero down, stated income, stated asset, 500 FICO score. I tell the lender I make $500,000. That's gone. We now look at 2 years of tax returns. If you're self-employed, we want to see a P&L. You know, if you're going bank statements, we want to see 12 months of bank statements and your cash flow. If you're an employee, we want to see your W-2s and your pay stubs and look at your salary, your commission, your bonus, your overtime, your wages, all that stuff. If you're in the military, we're going to look at your LAS, you know, so we're going to really scrutinize your employment income. We're also going to look at your credit. Credit needs to be, you know, above average nowadays. You know, most conventional and jumbo loans, you need to be in the high 600s, sometimes even over 700 at least to even qualify. So as far as the shadow inventory, defaulting mortgages and a little wave of foreclosures or short sales, that is not happening. That is not going to happen. People also ask about forbearance. During the pandemic, people raised their hand that needed assistance. They needed some mortgage relief because maybe their hours got cut or they got laid off. They didn't want to default or fall behind in their mortgage, so banks worked out what's called a forbearance. And in most instances, they took those payments and they put them in arrears. They put them in the back of the mortgage, and then people just paid off over time. Now, if that person wants a new mortgage, in most cases, they're gonna make those payments up to qualify for a new property or refinance or whatnot. But the point is, banks and lenders are working with those clients that had hardships. So they're not gonna default. There's not gonna be these foreclosures coming. So let's just recap for a sec, right? Yes, rates have gone up. They're still just above all-time lows. Lending guidelines have been extremely rigid for the last decade. You're not gonna see a wave of foreclosures. We've had hyper appreciation. Short sales aren't gonna happen. These forbearances are getting worked out. Last piece, and probably the biggest piece, is inventory. Basic supply and demand. You know, as I record this video here in San Diego, we've got less than 2,000 units available for sale. The absorption rate is less than 30 days. Properties are on the market for a week, 10 days tops. So you're going to continue to see massive demand. If you check out open houses or just go around these neighborhoods and you see these properties, there's lines around the corner for one property. And the thing that's heartbreaking is only one person can get it. But I talked to someone the other day and they had 50 showings. They had 50 people come to an open house. That's bananas, right? Now, that inventory, we're not going to get some relief. What would give us more inventory? Okay, foreclosures, we talked about that, not going to happen. Forbearance issue, not going to happen. Loose underwriting guidelines, not happening. Massive wave of building. Well, sorry, here in San Diego, there's not really much to build. Sure, you're seeing certain neighborhoods and pockets where there might be infill of 5 units, 10 units, maybe even a couple hundred units in different parts of the county. But we need thousands of units in new construction if we were actually to keep up with this. So for all of those things, we are not going to see a decline in prices in 22.